TimeEnds Radio.
So how you doing, dude?
I'm doing pretty good. Given the whole, quarantine stuff, it's all pretty good.
It's been 9 months. Why are we still harping on quarantine bullshit? Oh, the pandemic. Ooh. I mean, it feels like 2 months. Yeah, okay, but it's the fucking quarantine. It's life.
All the days blend together.
Hey, I'll give you that. It sure does. Let me fix my camera. Too much of my fart head. There we go. All right, so what brings you here today?
I have been asked here today.
Who the hell invited you?
You did.
I sure did.
On Messenger.
Yeah, I mean, I could have texted you, but it's funnier if I do it on Facebook.
It's funnier.
All right, I'm actually submitting it live. We're going to go live. I mean, it is live. It's going to show everything that we just talked about, but
yeah,
doing this weird.
Well, now it's live on Facebook, so.
Oh, you see it now?
Yeah, I see it, the little icon that says live on Facebook, so.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, now it's on Facebook. We're streaming live.
Yeah.
A second it goes, like, live. But the 30 seconds that we were talking wasn't available on Facebook until now.
Oh, okay. So it's a little bit of a
delay. Yeah. Let's see if I can
cool.
do a mirror effect. Let's see. Hold on. Let me share my screen. This will be funny. I don't think I've done this. Okay, there. You see that? Maybe I wonder if it's doing like a mirror effect. Mirror effect.
That's scary.
I know. It's funny. I just hired Julianne to do social media marketing. Ooh, shout out to Julianne. And she was sharing. She shares on her feed what I post sometimes, right?
Right.
And then I'll add that to my feed, and then she was adding her feed. Oh, it's doing it. Ah, damn it went away. And then she adds what I added that I added her to her feed, so it starts doing that little mirror thing, right?
Oh no.
And then I didn't realize it until later. I was trying to look at him like, oh shit. And I told her, I'm like, dude, it's doing that weird mirror effect, and she was laughing. But yeah, she's pretty cool. She's A-double-I. She does a lot of work for us. She's actually working for Music Teachers Muse as well. Shout out to Seth.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So let me ask you, dude, why are you in this business? Why film and media? What intrigued you? Like, why? Tell me a story.
Well, for my family, on both ends of the family, really, film and media has been like a pretty big part of us. Like, a lot of us have like a really, it just have more of a connection with like film and stuff like that, TV shows. And there are a lot of times when me and the family would just binge particular medias and actually like enjoy it. It's basically like, the bookworm type family.
Yeah.
That's the film equivalent essentially. And
that makes sense.
Over time, I saw more and more different kinds of media, to the point where I'm like, well, what if I tried to, get into the industry, see what I can do for, the industry as it is.
So, like, what exactly? I mean, like, I know you're like a jack of all trades, but like, what is it? What's your strong point? Like, what do you like doing? Like, what's the one thing you're like, yeah,
I like the writing, directing.
Writing and directing? What part of directing do you like?
I think just being able to like put together a scene and then seeing it play out and having that be recorded and come together in an actual narrative is pretty much the best part out of all of it. Because you can think like, it's pre-production or post-production and the mid-production things, but I think just seeing the vision come together itself is actually the best part of directing.
Oh, wow. Well, what about writing? What do you like about writing?
Writing, when you actually like present script to like a person, producer, or writing room, whatever it is, and seeing what other people think of it, what they think would work, they think doesn't work, and just getting that feedback actually helps incredibly, and that is the best part of like the writing phase.
So you like being criticized?
I like, yeah, basically.
So you like the feedback, whether it's good or bad. How are you with like
Yeah.
really bad feedback? Like if they're like, dude, your writing's very blah blah blah, even if they're complete assholes, like how do you deal with that?
Go back to the writing room and see what I can cook up next, basically.
All right, so you don't take it too hard. You just like, okay,
Yeah.
you take it and just do it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what intrigued you to write? Like, why writing? So I know some people don't like to write. They like to edit because they don't like,
Because I
visual
have
words.
stories to tell, really.
Okay.
There's just something I want to like present to the world, what I see of it, and then bring it up to other people and see what they think.
Okay. All right. How many stories do you have?
So far, I have 3 short film ideas in script format. One has had like several drafts. Actually, 2 have several drafts, and one is still in like the first draft, rough draft phase. And I'm just letting them been sitting right, just percolating ideas in my head right now.
That's cool. What inspires you?
It really, it's either a happenstance or life itself just kind of like rubbing off on me a little. And then I run with the idea, and whatever inspiration comes next, I just throw it onto the wall and see what sticks.
Okay. Kind of like spaghetti.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me shut this off. Julianne's writing me a book. She's the one messaging on Facebook. I'm live. Come on, people.
It's
All
like
right.
a 5-paragraph essay.
I tell her like, dude, get to the point. Okay. Well, I'm not sure if I can actually impersonate her too. If you want me to, you. Sorry, Julianne. Anyways, oh, that's terrible. I'm gonna get sued. Okay, so you've been on set, you've done all that fun stuff, right? Like, what's your favorite thing to do on set other than get people coffee?
Uh, I do actually like on the onset, getting, like the actual set together almost, and see in preparation for the actual like the shooting. Um, because that's actually like again, it harkens back to actually seeing the vision come to light on the set, which would eventually translate on screen. And again, that's just like the kind of part I really like about filmmaking, really.
Okay. What about editing? Like, do you like doing any post stuff, like video editing, audio editing, or graphic designing, any of that fun stuff?
I do like the editing process. I can probably, see myself doing editing a lot in the professional field.
Mm.
Um, I have more of a passion for the actual storytelling aspect. Although I know Anna says, and I believe this too, that an editor is also a storyteller, because the story is told 3 times in the production process. You have the writing phase,
Hmm.
the on-set production phase, and then the editing phase, which is where the
Correct.
story is told a 3rd time.
Correct. Yeah, and then I mean, I guess
So
it
you can
wouldn't count
argue
rewrites.
audio fourth time around is when the story is told.
I would say yeah in some cases, because the audio will change it. Like adding certain sound designing will change how it feels or how it sounds. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, Yeah, you've seen it happen where
I've literally seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I told you the story where I scored a film that I thought was funny, and it was meant to be serious, and because I scored it funny, everyone's like, "Oh, this is better," and I'm like, "Oh, was it meant to be funny?" So it happens, dude. So yeah, in a sense, you can save 4 times, and I know this is weird, but I want to say even color correction and grading if you do that afterwards.
Oh yeah, because that
you.
adds a whole nother layer to how a film is presented and the emotion it gives off.
Fuck yeah. I one of the films that I produced with Deanna, we gave it to a color artist. And when we got it back, I looked at the director and I said, "Yo, we're going to have to redesign the sound design because the color correction just gave the film an entire different feeling." So it's being re-sound designed as we speak. Or I'm sorry, it was re-sound designed, which gave it this feeling. So this different feeling from the way it was going, all because the color correction. So yeah, it went back to editing just because of that. Audio editing. So yeah, it does happen. So okay, what led you up to do this? Other than your family, was there anything kind of specific? For example, like I'm a guitar player because my uncle wouldn't let me play his guitar. Other than the fact that I wanted to play guitar, but I was like, I'm going to be a guitar player. Like that was the catalyst. My uncle not letting me play his guitar. Was there anything like that for yourself?
Um, Maybe more so in a particular film I saw, which basically um, gave me the idea like, yes, this is exactly what I want to do with my life, basically. Um,
What film?
the end of Evangelion, which is a Japanese animated film from I want to say 97, I believe.
Really? Tell
Yeah.
the audience, for those that don't know, because I'm one of them.
The end of Evangelion is actually the conclusion of the series Neon Genesis Evangelion, which is an anime about a kid who is brought to a whole new city to defend it from a threat called angels, which come down to try and wreak havoc. He does so by basically getting in a mech of sorts, and throughout the whole series, you see him basically have a hero's journey in a sense, and he meets new people along the way. Um, the end of Evangelion basically showed me that it's a combination of being an entertaining movie, but an art piece at the same time. And this is carried over from the series as well. I know some people say, like, in the film industry, if you want an entertaining movie, you go to Hollywood. If you want a artistic movie, you go to the indie film. But to me, the end of Evangelion proved you can do both at the same time.
Without going to Hollywood.
I wanted to take inspiration from.
Yeah, but without going to Hollywood, though.
Without really going to Hollywood, yeah. I suppose.
I have a thing about Hollywood. I talk about it a lot. Yeah. No. Like these dinosaurs need to really stop regurgitating the same bullshit. You know what I mean? Like with these films that are so epic, and I'm gonna get castrated for this, but I don't give a shit. It's just the same crap. I mean, I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. Like I do enjoy it, but like, dude, like you guys gotta go with the changing times. Like shit like that's not gonna work forever. And especially. They're all going to die out soon, and you look who's taking over. It's us.
Yeah. Because you see all these other places around the world gaining traction,
Exactly. And the same thing happened in the music scene, except it happened in the music scene, That's why, big companies like, stop it. Kind of like Geffen and Enterprise and all that stuff, like they won't survive as long because of the internet. How everything is being streamed on Spotify and all that stuff. Internet radio. You can write a song, a whole album, and release it on iTunes. You know, you don't need a production company. You don't need this place anymore. It doesn't exist. The same shit's gonna happen with films. It is happening with films. The only thing is that Hollywood's got to grab on everyone's balls right now until they all start dying off. So,
More like Disney.
well, yeah, Disney. I know Disney is becoming a huge monopoly.
They're
It's crazy.
synonymous with Hollywood at this point, to be honest.
What the hell do they not own? You know, it's like, fuck, they own everything.
Your soul.
I sold my soul for a donut. I beat what's his nuts. So, so speaking of Disney, are you a Disney fan?
Pre-Star Wars, sequel trilogy, yeah. Believe it or not. Because that basically proved to me, or at least the latter two films in that trilogy, basically proved to me that Disney doesn't really care about making a good story anymore. More so, just rehash the same story over again and just make it newer.
Whoa. What do you mean?
Well,
I'm a little confused.
Trilogy,
are you talking about the first
original
three?
trilogy? I mean, look at those story beats.
You're talking about the first three, like episode 1, 2, and 3?
Episode 4, 5, 6 compared to the sequel trilogy.
Which is 1, 2, and 3, right?
Technically 1, 2, and 3.
Well, yeah, no, I'm going off of what they're titled. Sorry. 4, 5, and 6 compared to 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Just wanted to make sure you weren't talking about the extra special effects they added on 4, 5, and 6. Between
No. I'm not talking about special effects. I'm talking about the story beats. Because if you compare A New Hope to The Force Awakens, it's literally the same story. You got to get these, super base plans over to the rebels or resistance and bring down a literal threat to the galaxy. Help of a smuggler and a nobody and all of that.
I see your point. They're regurgitating the same major plot.
Yeah.
While they're explaining what happened to individuals that are part of the major plot. Did you like Rogue One?
Rogue One's really is the best of the new Star Wars movies.
That's funny because I agree with you. I enjoyed it. As boring, I'm gonna be honest. As boring as it was, I really enjoyed it because I liked watching something happen in the background we knew about actually happen before my eyes.
Mm-hmm. It did something new. It told a story that was different from the sequel trilogy, at least.
Yeah, you're right. But either way, the major plot was the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
It was not as focused. But, I mean, you could argue that, too, where, part 1 was more of finding Anakin and, doing all that spiel, but still using what the first, I know it's confusing, the first 3, 4, 5, and 6 showed us already. We're just seeing the back story of what we already know is happening. In a way, they really couldn't show the beginning of something essential to the last 3. I'm sorry, 4, 5, and 6. We'll do that because there is 7, 8, and 9, which are the last 3. That's essential to 7, 8, and 9 without having the major plot in your face all the time in the background, because that's just what it really was about. So I see your point. I'm not going to say I disagree. I actually agree in that. Usually when I argue with people about Star Wars, surprisingly, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. When I argue with people about Star Wars, they just tell me that they didn't like it because of how it was shot, this and that. The story sucked. I'm like, dude, it's telling you the story about him and how he became a bad dude. That's what's important. But yeah, in the background, we're going to have the same the same shit. But what's interesting is that we're seeing the Empire being developed also.
Yeah.
Which is fun, because when we were introduced to Star Wars, there was already an Empire. How did this start? Why is the Empire ruling the galaxy? Like, what the hell? That's
How
why
did
I
they
liked.
literally take over an entire galaxy?
Exactly. That's why I personally like 1, 2, and 3. I just really hate the cinematic Hollywood cheesy bullshit that's in it. You know, I could have done without that. But yeah, here we are.
And there we go.
But yeah, no, I did you like 7, 8, and 9?
7 was I used to really like 7, and now it's just okay to me. The Last Jedi was a massive disappointment, and 9 ran over the coats of The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I don't have an argument there.
No contrasting point.
No, but I will say that I do like I do like how they closed it. And there's a statement that Kylo Ren says when he looks at what's her face and says, "Let it all die," you know, just whatever was done in the past is done in the past. He was saying, obviously, you know, it had a double meaning: the story itself, and that the new Star Wars generation was to take over, and you know, them in the story, which I thought was cool. I love when films do that, when they have double meanings like that. What's your favorite film of all time? Of all time, that you can watch a million times, you never get sick of it.
The end of Evangelion.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not.
I believe it. Okay, interesting. Now I'm gonna ask you about music. What's your favorite music?
The most music I really like is of it's new age rock, isn't it? I think if it's from like the the early 2000s ish.
It depends what style, really. And you know, I mean, that was a terrible statement. I guess it depends on which bands you listen to, because there's a lot of rock bands that came out that don't follow that trend. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Especially because of the 20-year mark, they started going back to, what was it, the 80s? They started doing 80s style shit.
Yeah.
Also. Especially the
They're doing
indies.
that.
Yeah. So name some bands. I mean, I'm privy to this information because we talked about it already, but everybody watching and listening, you know, they have no clue.
This is gonna sound edgy, but 3 Days Grace.
How is that edgy? I love 3 Days Grace. How's that edgy?
How is it edgy?
Yeah.
Isn't that there's the running joke of like those kind of like songs being like listened to by edgy 14-year-olds or something like that on the internet, basically.
Oh, you're talking about, I'm that old. I don't know. Maybe she knows. Do you know what he's talking about? She's not even listening. For those of you guys wondering, my daughter's here. The one I talk about on the podcast all the time, yeah, she's here, but she won't show her face. Wow, she really is ignoring me. Dude, she's like so into the phone right now. She's like you guys. Do you play any instruments?
I used to play the baritone back in elementary school.
I have so many jokes.
If it has anything to do with bass players, I did not know that it was bass.
Well, I play, okay, surprisingly, I mean, for those of you guys that don't know, there's this ongoing joke about me and bass players. Actually, that got deep. Because I do have some interesting bass player stories that's pretty dark, actually.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's pretty dark. Now that I think about it. But anyways, it's this running gag that I had with the students about how bass players suck and this is that. And then Christy, she's probably watching. I would give her a hard time because she's a huge Nikki Sixx fan. She was actually on the podcast. She was my first interview in a few months. I restarted the podcast, and then I tried to do it Facebook Live, and it destroyed the podcast. Like, we had to do it again. It was a nightmare.
Oh, no.
Very embarrassing. But yeah, anyway, so there's this ongoing joke and so on and so forth. And ironically, I play baritone guitar. I play 8-string too. So, you know, kind of there. You know, my guitar teacher, Seth, is like, either you play a bass or you play guitar. Stop it. Seth, I can
Said
imitate you
eight
too.
string, and I automatically went to a music teacher's muse.
Yeah, he always rags on me on that. Did I ever tell you what the guitar's called?
The name of the name you gave it, or
Yeah, well, I call it the hater because I used to call it the aider because I just didn't want to say 8 string. I'd be like, hey, get the aider. When I would tell the students, go get the aider. And then one day I just added an H because everybody hates 8 strings. I was like, go get the hater, but the nickname is 8 Inches of Pain. I'll never forget Furby's dad read that and he was like, ha, that's pretty funny. And I looked at him and was like, it's an 8-string guitar. He's like, that's even funnier. That's
I am
awesome.
in the dark right now.
Is it getting dark? I'm in a cave, so I don't have no windows.
It is really dark. Hold on, let me see here.
Oh, he disappeared into the northern lights, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't think this will do anything.
Oh, I know you're a little whiter than usual.
Oh, sweet. My complexion's coming out. That's cool. It's bouncing off the mirror as well. So.
It reflect the light on you. Oh man. So okay, now I'm gonna start talking. I know I wasn't gonna bring up pandemic shit, but I'm actually gonna start talking about pandemic stuff. How has the pandemic affected your creativity as far as writing? Because you say you're a writer, so. And I know you said you've been writing shit and all that stuff,
Yeah.
but how has it changed? Or if it has, like, how has it affected you?
Slight loss of motivation here and there,
Okay.
but that's comes with time, really, and also, like I said earlier, all the days kind of blend together, so schedule's all wacky. I suppose it's just a matter of just like breaking through like a writer's block and just keep going is really what it is all about.
Do you find it hard to start a story or conclude it?
I find it hard to get the story how I want it.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily how to begin or end, because I can come up with a beginning or ending. A beginning or ending that works is a different story, but pun intended. But I think the harder part is just kind of making sure it's how it's how I envisioned it the first time around, and then get so that it's presentable and see, does this work? Can I make this into an actual project or short film of some kind?
I see. How many rewrites do you go through normally?
That is a good question. I lost count.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I always wonder that because, I work with Professor Camacho on some of his films. And with Ben Howard, I've noticed on one film that he did, he had 7 or 8 rewrites. And then he filmed it. I hope I'm correct. I don't want to misquote what he told me, but yeah, it was about 7 or 8 rewrites. And in the other film, he had about 4 to 5. So I always wondered, how many rewrites have? Because with music, I don't rewrite shit. I'm lying. I do rewrite lyrics, but not 7 or 8 times. I'll change like a chorus or two. I don't like this. Scratch that out. Let's add this word. Yeah, scratch it out. I use pen. Give me a hard time, Seth. Or I'll add something to it. But as far as changing the whole thing, I've never done that. Even with Frank or Arias Hernandez, shout out to him for polishing my lyrics. He doesn't make me rewrite. He just says, hey, this flows better. Or, hey, why don't you change this or add this, So that's why I always wonder. I was curious on how that works. With music, it's not as, I'm not going to say it's tedious. It's not as, I don't know what the right word is, but. So you're a gamer.
Yes.
What, go ahead.
Let's see. I grew up off of Nintendo mostly, so like Mario and all, and the Zelda franchises. Um, I also had a little bit of PlayStation as well, so I grew up with the Sony game console, and some of their exclusives from back in the day, like the Crash and Jack and Daxter, Spyro, all that.
Nice.
So I used to be at a point in my life I wanted to be a game developer, but the
Really?
actual passion for that fizzled out into more film and media and animation level. So
You ever thought about writing games, like storylines for games?
it's a whole nother process because the story is actually usually based around the concept of the game. Because what they
Right.
do in game development is that they don't write the story first usually. What they do is they come up with a gameplay concept, work with it on prototype after prototype after prototype, and only after they have what they're looking for in gameplay done do they come up with a story.
Is that easier or harder? Because that sounds easier.
It's pathetically easier because it's based around something. But the best example I can give is Subnautica. The prototypes for Subnautica was literally just exploring in a submarine, and that was it. But off of that concept, they came up with a whole sci-fi story about a ship that crash lands on an ocean planet, and you have to get off of the planet some way whilst also surviving.
Wow. I don't know why that reminds me of Halo.
Little bit of Halo out
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I found a little similarity to Castaway here and there as well. Because
Interesting.
you're alone, so
Is
a
there a
lone
Wilson?
survivor, really.
Is there a Wilson?
You can make a Wilson.
I wonder if you're thinking what I was thinking. All
I
right.
hate you.
All right. So, sorry. All right. Who's your favorite director? If you have one.
I really appreciate a lot of the directors of like not the old Hollywood, but from the period of like the rejuvenation of Hollywood. Like you got Spielberg and Lucas, and then there's also Kubrick. But I think one man that I truly, really, really appreciate is Hideki Anno, who created Neon Genesis Evangelion, and he's also done more animated works, and he's done directing and writing for live action. The most recent live action film he did was actually Shin Godzilla, which has a little bit of nuance to it, I guess you can say, but that's besides the point. His whole style is he tries to be artistic, but it's also trying to be entertaining at the same time. And this is off of just what I'm getting from it, but that's how I've observed his actual style, and that's how I can describe it really, because it hits both of those kind of things at the same time.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I'm sorry. I just like I didn't know he did a Godzilla thing.
Yeah. Well, he grew up with a lot of the old kaiju movies like Godzilla and Gamera, and
they're great
partially
films.
Some of that was the inspiration for Neon Genesis But also he took some inspiration from Kubrick, and you can see that in the some of his directing.
I gotta check it out. I love Godzilla. I grew up watching Godzilla, and I recently saw the last one they came out with, and felt like a little kid.
The legendary Godzilla film.
Yeah, I felt like a little kid. I was like, "Ah!" That's funny. Oh, why do they think that we're on YouTube? We're not on YouTube.
We're live on YouTube.
Facebook, motherfuckers. Motherfucking a-hole.
Yeah, you think Susan would let him say the F-bomb on stream?
Hold on a second. I'm gonna start tagging some a-holes. Let's tag Seth. Let's tag Christy. Let's have Christy join. That'd be funny. Can you hear when they're messaging me?
I can't actually see that.
Oh, you can. Oh, okay. I'm tagging them right now, or I'm putting them on there. Yeah. If you're watching or you're live, I don't know. This thing tells me that people are watching, but it doesn't tell me exactly how many until later when I see the list. I'm like, holy crap! It tells me like right now it says nobody, but then when I go back and look, it says like 37 people are watching. It's really weird. What's interesting is when I used to do this back in the day, I would start at 3:30, and probably 100 and some change amount of people would watch the tail end of it because they just got home. I was like,
oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, fuck, if I would have aired it at 6 or whatever, then probably would have had more people watching or whatever. But yeah, one of them was Matt Skull before he started working.
Oh, Mateo?
Yeah. Once upon a time, he was a student. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, our little Matt was a student once upon a time. Shout out to Matt. Cool. Is there anything that, or actually, do you have any websites or any social media you want to share? Because when I put this out on YouTube, I'm going to add all that stuff.
Nothing in particular yet.
No, are you working on
I just have my Facebook, really.
Are you working on a website or anything?
Yeah, I bought a domain, but because of like I didn't have really anything to put up there to actually show, like as far as my work goes.
Well, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, how many films have you directed or co-directed or written, or what have you worked on so far?
So far, the only like bigger, it's more just the student stuff.
That counts.
So I've directed the the streetlights. So or co-directed with Fosse.
You should add that. You should totally add that. All counts.
Yeah, that's true. I should put it on there.
Yeah. And have you done any other stuff like other than that?
I haven't been able to get all too much done with how this quarantine's been going and just kind of everything down.
Have you
a lot of what I want to do is like requires somewhat can't necessarily be done on a skeleton crew too well, I guess you can say.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Have you looked on like Mandy.com or anything like that for any small sets to join? Or to work on it?
I haven't particularly.
Yeah, you should check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff on there.
Mm.
I know this producer chick that sometimes needs people. So I'll let her know. She can reach out. She's like this big. Yeah, I'm talking about producer Deanna. Any chance I get to make fun of this broad, I just take it. I take a stab at it. She's gonna yell at me. I know it. I can feel a disturbance.
She's just gonna yell at you in Spanish. Is what she's gonna do eventually.
I feel a little disturbance in the force. Dude, I did you hear about our new show that I'm doing with Professor Camacho?
I think you told me about it.
The Film Critique Exchange. You should check it out. We might if you're down, I'll pull you onto there. And what we do is we force each other to watch films.
Mm-hmm.
and then we critique them. And sometimes, although sometimes we'll agree, which happened, and it will disagree. My favorite recently was he gave us a film, and I watched it, and then he took fucking forever to watch it. Yeah, pendejo, forever to watch it. And when he finally saw it, I was like, "You're not gonna believe me. I actually really like this film," and blah blah blah. And he's like, "I fucking hated it." I'm like, "We were never on the same page." And I'm like, "You're the one that suggested it. God damn it." But yeah, you should check it out. We should have you on there. I mean, based off of our conversation with Star Wars, I think you'd have a lot of good feedback and input on some of that stuff. So okay, other than you know, struggling with the pandemic and stuff like that, with what going on, what do you have any plans on what you're gonna do next when the lockdown or quarantine, whatever it's called nowadays, is lifted?
I'm gonna try and get a crew together to do a small short film for one of my scripts, and then maybe start pitching, because by the time I think the quarantine will be over, I'll be out of options. So
That statement was hilarious.
I love the way I phrased that.
I know.
Because it sounds like I'm saying I have no options.
I know, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm gonna leave that alone. There's a lot I could say, but anyways, well, why don't you do it now? Why don't you, see who is crazy enough to join you and pitch it to a company or somebody, or try to do it yourself and rent the equipment or borrow the equipment. Why don't you?
I don't know who would be willing to like actually go out in this, the current situation is the thing.
Dude, there's a shit ton of people. I just went with Ludi and Pedro to film 10 episodes on one day. I mean, again, it depends on the situation. I had a conversation with Ariana Lee. She's in Mexico City, and she's, they're doing sets all the time. I mean, they're doing protocols. They're testing people and 6 feet and all that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. You gotta live. You gotta do it, right?
Yeah.
So why the fuck wait? I mean, be safe about it, obviously. I'm not saying put yourself.
I mean, if I could get a bunch of COVID tests together, sure, I can get right down to it.
Well, what you could also do is you can hire a COVID officer. Should look into that. That's somebody that makes sure that you're adhering to the CDC guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
They're on set. That's their only job. It's a beautiful thing. So yeah, they're on set and they're making sure that people wearing gloves if they have to, 6 feet apart, wearing their masks, whatever, and that's their only job. They're doing temperature checks, all that stuff. And I mean, if you get it, it happens. It happens. All you got to do is try to get better, obviously. But I don't know. I'm not saying put yourself in a situation, but I'm saying if you are able to find someone out there that can help or that can guide you in achieving this goal, do it. I mean, yeah, there's going to be times where, like right now, I'll give you here's a great example. I have a project that I wanted to do, and I had some camera guys, and I had to suspend it because of the fires. Round 1. The fires, the air quality, because I had to film at night, and it was in darkened, foresty areas. Okay. And then, all right, cool, we're going to do this again. The fucking lockdown. Now I can't film overnight. I mean, I could if I wanted to and risk. I could do a guerrilla style, which I'm thinking about it. But I would have to do it by myself, but it's not very smart for me to go by myself to a dark foresty area because, I mean, you never know. I could get attacked by a cougar or eaten alive by a lion. You never know. You got the joke. So yeah, those are things to think about. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I gotta find a camera guy or a camera chick or whatever that's crazy enough to go with me. Sign a waiver saying whatever happens is your deal, but go for the art of it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, just just do it, get it done, and that's it. Uh, I know this director who filmed a film with no permits, no permission, total guerrilla style, right?
Hmm.
Almost got caught. Finished the film, finished editing it, released it, and won awards for it.
Really?
Yeah. So if you have a plan and you want to do something, right? Do it, right? But be smart about it. You got to wear a mask. You got to get tested. You got to tell everybody, get tested before we get together. Maybe that'll help. I mean, testing is free. Now, if you're planning on shooting 5 days and you can't afford to pay people to take those rapid tests or whatever, which, I mean, sometimes they don't work, they'll come out false, then schedule it within the week. Just say, hey, get tested on this day. Okay, you're cool. Let's film. After you're done filming, go get tested again. We're gonna film next weekend. Everyone comes back negative. You could do it that way, but that also doesn't mean they don't catch it in between the tests. So keep that in mind. So again, there's a will, there's a way. Don't allow something to prevent you to do what you want to do. Definitely, dude. There's someone crazy enough out there to probably help you do your film. Just get it together, finish it. I find a script doctor. I know a crazy guy that can help you. He'll go through your script and tell you what's wrong with it. You just got to fix it, and once it's perfect, then get a production company or somebody that'll help you. I mean, people are listening to this now. Maybe they're like, oh, maybe we want to help them. You don't know that, and they'll help you with your film. But just do it. Just get it done. Get her done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So cool, man. I really appreciate you coming out here and doing this thing. I haven't seen you in a while. I'm happy to see you.
Yeah.
I think the last time I physically saw you was when we went on set together. Oh, look at that. We went on set together.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so if we were able to do it, but we were safe about it. Everyone got their tests. Everyone came back, negative, and, we're all good. But yeah, so if you have any any media you want to share, any websites later, let me know, and I'll put it on the channel as well. I'll just link you to all this stuff. So it was awesome talking to you, dude. Really
Thank you for having me
appreciate
on. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the live stream because fuck all ya. I just stopped it. I think I did. And that's the show. Thanks for being on here, dude. Appreciate it.
Thank you again for having me.
And I'll see you guys next week.